and welcome to MGP510. I'm Kevin, with me as ever, the Sheepdog, Anna and Pab. Say hello, boys and girls.
Hello, boys and girls.
Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, allow me to clarify. I meant to say hello, Pab and Anna. I am fed up with hearing Sheepdog's voice after the last 48 hours. I didn't need him to say anything. Me and Sheepdog have just spent the last 2 days together, and I can't cope.
I can't win with you, though, right? Because I think the first day, I was like, I talked too much last time, and when we went to Barcelona, I suddenly said to Kev, I have to remind myself that you're autistic, so you don't need me to fill all those gaps. It's quite nice just being quiet. And he was like, yeah, I'm glad you finally get that after 10 years. And I was like, yeah, no, it's just occurred to me. It's cool. So then I just left him to it, and we just chatted when we wanted to chat. And then on Wednesday, I just thought, yeah, no, we set the rule last time. I won't be too talkative. It's annoying. And then he just gave off this vibe the whole time that I was being boring and not talking enough. And I thought, oh, now I'm not giving him the adventure he's used
and then
to.
he phones me, really excitable on the phone, saying words that I can't understand. When
but
he's
then,
like
yeah,
that.
so Saturday I was just normal. And then I thought to myself, he's probably getting on the way back.
Obviously, he means Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm forgetting it's bloody Wednesday. It's a Thursday. I was just normal, best thing from Sheepdog. And then on the way home, I thought, he's just had a whole day with me. It was a long day. We're just trying to get home today. And he's on the phone to Anna going, Sheepdog's being boring. He's just sat on his phone silently texting. He's not talking to me. And I'm like, I'm trying to respect your boundaries of you have been enduring me. So I just went back to waffling, but then he just nodded politely in that I'm not really listening to what you're saying kind of way that he does. So
he does that a lot
win.
to me as well. I hate that.
Do not know where I stand with the man. It's impossible.
Well, I've made my position clear. Now we should move on.
No, you haven't. God.
I fully understand my position, and I am the main character around here. I think that's what the youngsters say, isn't it? I'm the main character.
Main character energy.
Main character energy. What does that mean?
That you're the main character of everything.
I mean, everyone knows I'm the main one, obviously.
It depends. I mean, it's when you go to events and all the stories revolve around the crazy things one of the people did. You know, that's main character energy, Kevin.
That feels like sidekick energy.
No.
The one that everyone laughs at because they're being a rascal. That's the sidekick.
You give off narrator energy. You'd be like the guy at the beginning of a Pokemon episode who talks about young Ash Ketchum on his journey.
Sheepdog does all the stories. You just give headlines.
Yeah. You just sort of introduce the show, and then I spend the next 25 minutes, gallivanting through it.
Like you've just done before the podcast. Kevin was these people were like this, and you're like, no, the guy was giving us a tour, and it's just like, you both
You're giving off narrator energy over there, Chapman. Why don't you narrate a bit more, eh?
I speak in video titles, thumbnails, and tweets. That is enough information. That's all you need. You don't need all this pesky detail that you kids seem so obsessed about.
I like the detail.
Also, we don't need to focus too much on the truth. Let's just tell the story. We don't need the truth. We just need the story. Goodness me. Sometimes you get too bogged down in the truth of the situation, and it ruins my headlines.
Your narrative.
No one knows what we're talking about. We're talking about stuff that I guess we're being vague enough, but there's things that have happened we can't talk about on the podcast. Sheepdog did a thing. You'll read about it in the newspaper at some point.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
He's not proud of it.
Do we get Italian press over here? I mean,
probably not. I doubt they. It all links up, does it? I can't imagine. There's any way for them to see what we're up to, or us to see what they're up to.
I did throw him off the scent by shouting those Spanish words I thought were Italian. So yeah, they're going to be scouring Spain. For
to be fair, some of the Italian words are a little bit too similar to the French words and the Spanish words and all the other words. The first time someone said buongiorno to me, I was just like, bonjour, and that was it. Now I'm not adding the no. It's unnecessary. I've learned to say bonjour in French. You know what I mean if I say it to you. I'm not going to say buongiorno. That's
funny.
ridiculous. Why are we adding extras?
I kept kind of going grassy and then muttering in case it was gracias because I couldn't remember. I was like, grassy. Yes.
They all just need to speak English. It's so much easier.
They did, basically.
Kevin.
Everyone did.
No, some of the taxi drivers didn't. Sheepdog left me in a taxi to get scammed. The one time I was left on my own, I nearly got scammed.
How?
For some reason, Sheepdog just legged it out of a taxi. Because...
Didn't like the vibes in there. They felt scammy.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, Italy, you can't pay for taxis with cards like you can everywhere else in the universe. We didn't know that. So our first night there... he got us to the hotel and I went to pay and he went, I can't take your card. Well, I've not got any money. I don't carry cash with me anywhere. So he had to drive us to a cash machine. That was an ordeal. So I had cash on me then. So the next time we got a taxi, the guy asked me for, I think it was like 16 euros and I only had a 50 euro note. So I gave him that and he's like, oh.
I've no change.
Yeah, no change. Well, you're not having that. and then he was like, no English, no English. But he said, it wasn't even no English. It was, sorry, I don't speak any English. Imperfect English.
That sounds
when I was like,
English.
well, you could just give me 30 back. You can keep the change. Sorry, I don't speak any English. Oh, well. So then I just sat there waiting for him to give me my change. I didn't get out the car. He didn't move for a minute. And eventually he did give me my full 34 euros of change. But while this is going on, Sheepdog has just got out at the start of this transaction, just got out and walked off and left me to it.
Sheepdog, I told you to look after him.
Well, I did for the most. With the ATM at the start, when he needed to get money out, I told him where the nearest Bitcoin ATM was, and sent him off on a walk to that before we realised it was Bitcoin and he couldn't use it.
I think I broke into a bank, by the way, to use that cash machine.
Wow.
Because it has one of those vestibule things where you have to go in to use the cash machine. The cash machines aren't outside, but you need to be able to scan a card to get in. And obviously I don't have a card for an Italian bank to be able to get in, so I couldn't get in. So I waited for the person who was in there to come out. And when they came out, I nipped through the door that they'd opened to get out and got in and then used the cash machine. The whole time thinking, oh, my God, I hope you don't have to scan a card to get out or else I'm going to be locked in the bank. But yeah, I effectively...
I've always
the
wanted to go on
headline
one of
here
them.
is, I broke into an Italian bank.
Wow.
I mean... Yeah, that's what the Italian job is, and I guess you've just done that.
I mean, I tell you what, they make bank robbery seem really hard in films. One of the easiest things I've ever done. Yeah, it wasn't even difficult. Just had to hang around outside and wait for someone to leave the door open.
You did leave me in the taxi with that man that you just upset. He'd come out to us late at night, driven us halfway across Italy, and then you've gone, oh, I can't pay you, mate. And
Kev says...
Look, me and Anna spent 5 days in Geneva, and I still don't know what a Swiss franc looks like. At no point did we need to get any cash. We and you went to Barcelona. Cash wasn't needed. I don't get cash when I travel anymore because we're in a post-COVID world where people don't use cash. Cash is irrelevant. Well, I don't. Is English money got the king on yet? I don't know. I haven't seen any for like 5 years.
Long story short, anyway, to wrap this up a little bit, the next best thing for us is probably going to be from The Hague after our trip to Italy.
What's The Hague?
They try people for war crimes.
Got you. Cool.
We didn't commit any war crimes.
That is true.
Let's move on and talk about some video games. Oh, my word. I did actually play some video games on the aeroplane.
I see you managing some sort of financial situation, investing in resources to build transport infrastructure.
I was playing mini motorways and also mini metro, but I realised I only have one on each of my devices. So when I want to switch between them, I have to switch devices. So I had to have my iPad and my phone sat in front of me. But I played mini metro for a bit on my iPad, and then when I got to the point where I kept failing because it was getting too hard, I went and played mini motorways for a bit, and then I got to the point where I kept failing at that, and then we're on a 2-hour flight, and I'm done. I've played my 2 games I've got downloaded, my usual go-tos. I ended up having to play the only other game that was on either of my devices, Football Manager Touch, which the only time I've played was when it first came out, when I did my first look at Football Manager Touch on Apple Arcade. But I ended up playing that for an hour or so for the second half of the flight today. And managed to get Arsenal playing pretty much how they play in real life. It took me a few minutes of fiddling, but I've got Zinchenko tucking in and pushing into that defensive midfield area. I've got Odegaard kind of dancing around on this sort of attacking right-hand sidey bit, but not really playing as a number 10, not really playing as a centre mid. It took some fiddling, but yeah, I've kind of got Arsenal doing Arsenal things. So that kept me amused for the final hour of the flight. But other than that, I've not played any games, but what I have done is been to the UK's #1 gaming festival, because I went to Insomnia last weekend, and that feels like forever ago that I went to Insomnia, but ridiculously it was only like 5 days ago, and I had a lovely old time. It's still awesome.
They didn't have very good mics though, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to completely throw them under the bus, because I am very appreciative of the fact that they do invite me to come along to the event as a guest. They let me stream from there. They gave you a massive sack of makeup to silence you, and you've still thrown them under the bus. You're a monster.
No, it's not that, but I think you need to carry a mic with you. Because headsets at conventions are great.
On the streaming section at Insomnia, they're trying to solve a problem. It's not that their stuff isn't any good. It's that they're trying to solve a problem. That problem being, when you're streaming from the middle of a really busy event floor with loads of people around next to a stage that's blasting stuff out constantly on a massive PA, how on earth do you do audio when you're not in a soundproof little cupboard? You're just literally out on the show floor, sat at a desk in the middle of the show floor. How do you do the audio? They had like gaming microphones last year, and they were rubbish because they picked up all the background noise. So this time they decided to go with gaming headsets. And to be fair to the gaming headsets, they cut out most of the background noise, but the actual audio quality of what was left was absolute trash. It really was awful. It sounded like I was broadcasting through a walkie-talkie. If you haven't had the opportunity to go back and listen to it yet, you really should, boys and girls. What they need to do is go and invest in like the headsets that they use at the wrestling when they're sat ringside with their wrestling headsets on. But those things are mega expensive, and they're not going to buy half a dozen of them for Herberts like me to use at a gaming event. So I don't really know what the solution is. It's such a noisy environment, and they're trying to do it with consumer level gear.
You were just out on the floor.
Yeah, just out on the show floor.
So they weren't even in like a little.
There's
box.
no booth.
They weren't even boxing you in. See, that's what they need to do.
Yeah, it's literally there's a desk, and then the other side of the desk, you've got like the lighting and the camera and stuff is over there, and then they have like a wrestling style barrier around the ring, one of those little fences just to keep the riffraff away from us, so they can't touch us or get a free selfie with us, any of that kind of stuff that wouldn't be acceptable. Breathe the same oxygen as us elite streamer people. But yeah, there's no like soundproofing. We're not in a cupboard. We're not in any kind of box. I did have a wander around the show floor after my stint streaming, and if Sony want to invite me to stream specifically from their booth next time, Sony over the other side of the thing have a little soundproof booth with a proper with all the Sony gear in there, the proper microphone on the proper microphone arm in their little Perspex cube, and that seemed like a much cleaner setup, but at the same time much more expensive, and it was very much Sony doing a fancy tech showcase kind of thing, I guess. But yeah, I don't really know what they're supposed to do with consumer level gear to get over the fact that it's a really, really loud environment.
Would like an NVIDIA filter thing, like what I use,
all that's running, but it's I mean, it's so loud.
Much,
yeah, it's so loud that it's difficult to differentiate between what I'm trying to say and what the background is doing. And I mean, there's another streamer 2 yards to my right as well who's also yelling into their headset microphone. The main stage is just behind us. I mean, maybe you don't position it next to the main stage and all that audio equipment would be a start.
What I'll never understand is, right, I used to work in an insurance call centre that had like 800 people all in a room on phones, and you'd be talking to someone about their insurance problem and they couldn't hear the people next to you. And I don't understand. I know there wasn't music blasting out on a stage, but there was a lot of people talking. If you took your headset off, the room was really loud. And I don't understand how they work enough that they could afford hundreds of them. And, it wasn't the sort of place that would have spent.
In call centres, they have those little ones that are literally pushed right onto your cheek, aren't they?
Well, I suppose that wouldn't sound good, would it, for you?
I mean, it wouldn't look good, is the main thing. You'd look like Britney Spears. And
I've always wanted to look like her.
Always wanted that.
But
you had all that surgery, all that money you've spent, and you're now pretending.
I'm looking for a solution that works for most gamers, and most gamers don't want to look like Britney Spears. I would love it, obviously.
Yeah, in your like event streaming though, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Just to have that along your face and everything's going in and it's all good, and you can just forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, Anna's hit the nail on the head. I just need to take my own gear in future. I could even take.
You do like taking your own gear everywhere, so
you'll wear your plastic red dress and your, lipstick, and you'll have your little thing on your face.
Exactly.
So even like in theatre, like when they're doing musicals, they have them like ones that come out of their hair that's like stuck to their forehead, and they've always got music going on. So maybe you get one of the things that you stick to your forehead.
I'm not sticking something to my forehead.
A microphone on your forehead.
Camera.
It's a thought.
Bearing in mind, this one was sponsored by Canon, so it was very much a showcase of the camera.
But do they do?
If the subject that was on camera was someone with a microphone taped to their forehead, that probably isn't the full effect they're looking for as part of their advertising campaign.
You don't know.
But yeah, it was. I mean, it was fun, but it was probably more fun for me than the people watching. I dare not look at the viewing figures, the viewer retention, the YouTube comments, because Chris has edited together a highlights version from that stream. I can't imagine what the comments must look like because, yeah, it
sounds like you're in a chopper.
Shocking. Yeah.
Maybe you were in a chopper.
There's nothing I could do about it, though. But the event itself was awesome. It was fun. It's Insomnia in general seems to be lurching back towards being more and more of a community meetup event than a gaming event, though, because there was nothing new to play there at all. Over the last few years, they've kind of gone a little bit more towards the EGX kind of stuff of having playable stuff there, but there was nothing like that this time. It was literally just a place to go and hang out with your mates. There was nothing really to do. You couldn't go there on your own and spend a weekend there, I don't think, this time. But I don't know if that was just because they were struggling to get stuff there. Similar to how, obviously,
that zombie thing you're invited to do.
Kevin had hurt himself.
A normal person going to the event's not going to do that because it books up first thing in the morning and you have to pay to do it. So just turning up to go and do... You couldn't go and wander around it the way we have in the past been able to wander around gaming events just playing games, because there was, even counting the little indie section and the retro section, there was probably only 20 playable games there, and half of them were retro ones on old consoles, and there wasn't a lot of any of that. So it was, I was a little bit surprised with that side of things, but then that's always been what Insomnia has been at its core. It's a big LAN party where they have extra stuff to keep you amused as well. But it seemed like they were trying to shift it towards being a proper EGX competitor, and this seemed like a step away from that again, which I don't know whether it was a conscious thing or more to do with availability of games to come and show the event. I mean, it's Easter weekend. I know E3 has been cancelled, and it would have been slightly before when that would have been anyway. So the chances of getting upcoming stuff for an Easter weekend event would always be tricky. I think this one has always been harder than the one that comes later in the year, because no one's really showcasing an upcoming game in April. So maybe the positioning of the weekend doesn't really work from a games show perspective.
But there's like two big games coming out in April.
What?
Well, two big games. You've got the new Star Wars game.
They're not going to do Zelda.
No, they've got Dead Island 2. You've got the Star Wars one with the guy. That comes out in like 2 weeks.
They ain't there, though.
No.
I don't know the reasons why they're not there.
You said Sony was there, didn't you?
Sony were there, but PlayStation weren't.
What? What's Sony showing you then?
Sony
Headsets?
was showing hardware. Yeah, TVs, headphones, microphones. Yeah,
Wow.
just gear.
So they've just released the PSVR 2 and they aren't doing anything with it. Good job.
It costs more than the console,
like I say,
doesn't it?
very surprising. What I did find interesting is they've moved the traditional August bank holiday weekend one a little bit later. It's now going to be mid-September, taking the EGX slot as they've moved
later,
into October. So I wonder if maybe they're going to start to have a little bit, make them more two distinct events and have the one that happens Easter weekend more about it just being a big LAN party. And maybe we'll see in the September one that's now in that EGX slot, it might have a little bit more upcoming stuff to play. And then it'll be interesting to see what EGX does, because that's now in October again, by which point half of the games will have already been released.
I mean, last year, EGX, what did we think? Because I feel like the highlight...
No, I know. It's a worry, because it feels like conventions as we've known and loved them.
Yeah, they're getting rid of all the things we liked.
Yeah, it's just ending because you don't need them anymore. It's like, it feels like we're going to look back on gaming conventions in 15 years' time as, do you remember when you used to go to game conventions the same way? It's like, remember when you used to get demos on the front of magazines? And it would just be, it was such a weird way to go and try a game.
And Anna would run across
internet now.
across little girl.
Yeah. It just feels like it was a little moment in time that it's kind of the world has moved on from now. And it's a shame. But with E3 being cancelled, I wonder how long it is until the likes of EGX either have to shift massively towards community stuff the way Insomnia have already mastered,
I feel
or
like it's
whether it
already
just
gone
goes away
that
completely.
Way. I feel like it's gone more and more that way each year. The retro stuff gets bigger and bigger each year.
But it can't do it. It's so far behind where Insomnia is on that side of things. Insomnia is so much better as a community event. So EGX has got a lot of catching up to do if it's going to compete on that front.
I was surprised about how it sounded, because I was saying, just a minute ago, that a friend of mine said they were going. They've been talking about it all month. Oh, I'm going to Insomnia. I'm going to, and I just thought they were excited to go and play games or whatever. And then when we actually got to talk about it, they were going there with 3 friends to take part in a League of Legends tournament, and they needed to find a 5th person to play with them, and all of this. There's all these rules around it, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is, you're actually just going there to play that until you can't play it anymore, and then what do you do? And he was like, well, hopefully we'll go really far, play that until we do well, and then I'll figure out something else to take part in, like a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. They brought their cards along. And I was like, okay, but what about when you're not doing them? And it was just, well, no, we'll play and we'll sit around and chat and we'll drink. And the person that they got to join their team, their 5th wheel, they claimed they were good at a certain part of the game they weren't good at. They said they were good at support, so they rejigged their whole team. And then that person wasn't good at support, lost all 3 rounds that they played. They died first, and then it meant they didn't have a support. And I don't know much about League of Legends, but basically, because they died immediately within seconds of each round starting, the other 4 just died. He went all the way there, all prepared, and then they were out in like the first. It wasn't round because it was like some weird setup, but 3 matches they were out, and he was like, right, now I've just got to go play Yu-Gi-Oh for the rest of the weekend. But I just thought, again, like you say, well, what are you checking out? What are you doing? But it was just sit around and chat and play cards and stuff. It's not something we've ever been into.
So what I'm getting at is, Insomnia treat me much better than EGX do. I'm always there as a guest. I've always get the full lovely goodie bag treatment. You lot need to start coming to Insomnia so I've got some people to hang out with. I had to hang out with Football Manager nerds at this one. Don't make me hang out with the Football Manager nerds.
They are your people.
I mean,
I had to eat a meal with Si Maggio.
Is there anything there that any of us could play competitively?
I mean, no, you're all pretty rubbish at games, aren't you? Well,
excuse me.
Okay, Anna, my apologies. What game would you like to play competitively against other people?
Gears of War.
I don't think they had that in the retro section yet. Maybe it'll get to the point.
That's not in the retro section yet. It's like, 11, 12 years old now? It should be there.
I mean, PS4s are in the retro section.
Oh, that makes me feel so old.
I feel like they can't call that retro. That's just last gen. It's not retro. People have got them at home.
That is true.
I don't make the rules.
I'm trying to find game tournaments at Insomnia now.
But yeah, bottom line, I mean, this is probably a conversation for us to have when we're not recording at some point. But EGX has been shifted to like the week before Comic-Con again. So rather than all of us heading off down to London 2 weeks in a row in the middle of Football Manager release season, maybe we could do Birmingham the month before and then just do one of the London events. Something to bear in mind, boys and girls.
I imagine my mate will be playing League of Legends there again, so I'll have other people to abandon you for as well. It probably work quite nicely.
Don't we get your time anymore, Sheepdog?
It was a joke, Hannah. But I mean, Kev's just had 2 days of my 3
I
days
haven't.
of time.
I've not had you.
Honestly, I've had plenty.
You got a couple of waves. You got to hold my keys for 3 days.
Yes, I didn't sit here going, oh, Sheepdog's keys. They just went in the office.
I mean, he put them on a lanyard for you so you could wear them. I still don't really understand why they're on a lanyard.
What is your lanyard?
I've got 2, I think. Let me check.
Why are your keys on a lanyard, you weirdo?
It's because I had to have a key fob with work that had. I don't even know if I've still got that fob. I haven't been to work in a long time. I'm trying to put that down without making too much noise, but I think I failed. Yeah, no, I had to wear a work lanyard with the key fob, and then I think when I stopped going into the office, I've binned that off. But because I got a tour of the Tottenham Stadium. I got a lanyard then. I didn't realise it. I've just looked at it, actually. I thought it just said Tottenham Hotspur, but actually it says White Hart Lane Stadium Tour, which also just seems a bit silly now. I should probably get rid of that. I thought it just said Tottenham Hotspur. I never actually read it.
Keep it.
But, yeah, no. I never wear them around my neck. It's so I can swing them around as a weapon if I ever need to.
Paraphernalia in my house. I didn't look at it in that much detail. I would have nipped this key-sitting nonsense in the bud if I'd have known that.
I'm going to
makes it handy to
sit.
swing them.
I like key sitting.
But yes, that was my week in gaming, boys and girls.
I said to Kev, I don't think I played anything. And then after I'd said that, I was like, no, actually, I played a lot this week. I've had a good week for gaming. I did my streaming on Saturday. Thank you to people who dropped in. Thank you to those of you who donated as well. That was really cool. I had great fun. We did a Among Us evening. I've not played Among Us since like the height of lockdown 1 or 2, whenever it really sort of got going and became the thing everyone was doing. But
Lockdown or Among Us?
Sorry?
Before lockdown became the thing everyone was doing.
No, Among Us, I meant, you fool. So I hosted that game and it was very good fun. We played the normal game at first, and there was a few people who'd never played it during the lockdown, so they had a great time. And it was fun just hearing everyone go at each other and accuse each other, because we learned very quickly that if one person went, I actually think it's Sheepdog, everyone just voted for me no matter what. I didn't even have a chance to be like, no, it's definitely not me. And I had to get to the point where I was going, look, it isn't me. When you see it's not me, vote for so-and-so next, and I hope you all burn in hell. And then I would just like die every time, because they would, like, anytime someone accused me, they just went for me. But it was good fun. And then we actually played the mode. I don't know how long it's been out. I've never played it, so it's new to me. The hide and seek mode that they added in, that was great fun. Like, that was basically, you know who's it, and you have like, I think it's a minute or two to avoid them and do tasks around the level to limit how much time they've got, and then however much time they've got after that, they can see where you all are pretty much, and you just have to keep trying to run away from it. I think they can monitor the map a bit easier. It's easier for them to hunt you down. They've got a bit more visibility, and the music in it's just epic. So you're wandering around and it's played a normal sort of beat, like whatever, like a bit of a bass line, and if you start walking towards the imposter, it starts to kick up a notch until, if they're like, I was standing in a doorway and they were the other side of the door, it was one of those ones where there's an airlock, and as they entered the airlock, the music started to like go down, 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 and I like turned and ran the opposite way until the music went quiet again. Absolutely jumped a mile, and yeah, it was just great. It was really got you going. It was really like intense, just sneaking around trying to not have that music jump up really loudly, and if the imposter gets close enough, they murder you instantly. So, yeah, it was great. I really recommend checking it out if you've not played it in a while. It was good fun. It breathed new life into the game. It made so everyone was going, "Oh, I don't want to play on that new airship level they added last year or whenever it was." They added this big like airplane level thing that was really hard to kind of find each other on to play properly. But obviously in hide and seek mode, that's the advantage. That's probably why they designed it that way, because it's much easier to hide in. It gives you a chance against the imposter. But on the smaller levels, it was still really good fun, because in the hide and seek ones, everyone else is allowed in events except the imposter. So that makes a big difference as well. It was just good. It was good fun. I also mentioned in previous weeks that Ollie's been harassing me into playing Terraria with him, and I was a bit like, play it. It's not, not my cup of tea. I suddenly fell for it a bit last time we played it. He asked me to play it with him for a couple of hours, and I ended up playing it with him for a bit longer than we'd set out to. One thing that he never really showed me when we've been playing it, because he always wants to just go along the top and explore a bit, and I always want to just dig straight down and down and down and down, and then go off in all sorts of directions. And it always becomes a bit difficult to be like, well, I'm going to go and do this. You can either join me or you can wander, but this is how I want to play it, because walking along the top, there's nothing really going on. Like, I walked with him to the edge of the world where the water was, and I was like, oh, that was interesting. Now I know what the end looks like. But he told me, oh, you can't go, don't go this way. There's crimson or whatever it's called everywhere. So then after we've been playing for a couple of hours, I was like, do you know what? Before we finish up, I want to go and see what you've told me. I can't go near over here. And he was like, you'll get killed. And I was like, well, I'm going to go check it out. So I went over to this harder bit, and there was just all this cool stuff to do. It's like, there was hearts everywhere. And I said, well, what happens if I go near them? And he was like, well, if you break them hearts, bosses will appear. So I was like, how do I break it? He was like, I'm not telling you, because you won't be able to beat them. So because he wouldn't tell me, I just ended up doing it. I was like, well, I have got a pocket full of bombs. I could just blow this popsicle stand to pieces. So I just kept doing that. And he was like, what are you doing? And then this massive, I can't say, is it Cthulhu? I can't say his name. His brain appeared and was firing eyeballs at me. But when I killed it, he was like, oh, you're better at this than I expected you to be. And I was like, yeah, I'm not a noob, and I'm not a noob like you, or something like that, teasing him. So then I went and did another boss, and then he was like, I might join you if you're actually able to do the bosses. So then we were just going our way through killing these much harder sort of things and having a bit of a crack at it, and it just become a lot more fun. I feel like I didn't know that he was restricting what we were doing, if that makes sense. I didn't know that he thought he was trying to ease me into it, bless him, thinking that I'd find it too hard and not want it. But actually, yeah, I enjoyed it when I was playing it properly. I didn't realise I wasn't. So he said to me he wants to play it over the weekend. Sunday we'll probably have another crack at it and go through it for a bit. But yeah, it's just been nice learning stuff a bit better, and just seeing what pops up, because I don't know anything in there. I go to certain places and go, what's this thing? And he's like, oh, that's this, and he talks me through it. So it's got that nice bit of exploration, like the early when I was playing Minecraft with Kev, and I was like, I've never done this before, and he's telling me what bits do. It's a bit like that, and it's been fun. But yeah, it's been really cool. I don't think I've played any other games other than my usual mobile games, and I don't really need to talk to you about Pokemon or Football Manager or Simpsons Tapped Out again, although they've all got events on, as they always do. It's Togepi Community Day tomorrow, so if you like Togepi, get on it. And that's your lot.
Pat, put an advert in while I clean all this apple tango off myself that I've just spilt. Oh, what a sticky mess I am.
You've been tangoed.
I have literally been tangoed. Someone else talk about video games. I'm still trying to deal with this liquid issue that I've got going on.
I've played nothing.
What?
That can't be true.
I just don't have it in me anymore.
What have you spent this weekend doing?
What a sentence. I just don't have it in me anymore.
I have my
You
colouring
What
books.
does that mean?
I can't bother. I turned the Xbox on the other day, thought I'd play Fallout. Played it for about 40 minutes, and then I was like, can't bothered. And then I tried to play that Star Wars game, and I played it for a bit, and then because it's downloaded, like on the Xbox, and because it's downloaded, it started having I don't even know what they're called, but all the scenery and all static stuff in the frame was just flickering, and I could not get it to go away. I restarted, I changed going off HDR and then putting HDR back on. I couldn't stop the whole thing just flickering at me, so I turned that off. So I just got my colouring books out and just coloured.
For 4 days.
Yeah. I can't bothered. I have all of the games, and I cannot be bothered to get into them. I don't know why.
It'll pass.
There's a new game
It'll
next
pass.
week, so that's coming on Friday, which is Dead Island 2, which has been about 10 years in the making.
I think it's out next week as well. Horizon DLC's out next week.
I've not finished that either.
Exactly.
Why don't you do
Finish it.
that?
Because I don't have it in me to do it, because I put these games down, and then when I go back to them, I can't figure out what I'm supposed to do and how to play it.
See, I've been saying this to you for years about how you play games. Because I play a game all the way through.
Lies.
And
because
no,
you put on Minecraft the other day
Listening,
and then turned it off.
Listening. I play a game all the way through before moving on to the next one. Minecraft's different 'cause it's not story based. I just dip in and out of Minecraft whenever I feel like it. But a big game a game that has a finish, I won't jump from game to game to game. I'll play that game all the way through and then put it away and never touch it again, and then move on to the next one.
Is too big.
How big's too big?
It's so big.
Just skip all the side stuff.
I
go
don't
straight
like
the main
to.
line.
I like to do side
Well, the
quests.
side
So
stuff in
you'd
that's
rather
good.
not play it at all?
Yes.
I don't
I
understand.
know. I don't know. It just
You're a
seems
goose.
that all
I
the
understand,
games
and
that have come out recently, I just haven't enjoyed. I didn't enjoy Atomic Heart. Well, I did enjoy Atomic Heart until it got to the outside bit. I did enjoy Batman at Gotham Knights until it was just doing the same thing over and over again. I did enjoy, what was that other one? The one on the spaceship. I forget what it was called. But then I got to
Dead
a part.
Space.
No, the other one. There was the other one just before that, not Dead Space, but the other one.
Oh.
Yeah.
The something protocol.
Yeah, I
Callisto
enjoyed that
Protocol.
until I couldn't get out of this room because every time it reloaded, the things would just come at me straight away. There was like a save point that I just couldn't get out of, and I can't bother to start it again. And then I got Midnight Suns, but again, it's so. I don't know half the things that's happening because I don't understand that universe, and it just seems everything is just wrong and bad, and it's not what I want to play. Like Hogwarts Legacy, I played it for about a week, and then I just I don't like going all the way through the castle to go to here, or I don't like going you have to walk it just did my head in, and I'm just in one of them ruts. And what I did find out though is that the PlayStation 4 Move does not work on the PlayStation 3 system because my Andy, one obviously he's moved out, and I go to see him, and when he moved in, he took a move with him. He took the old style with him. I told someone to put it away. It can no longer be found. We don't know where it is. So I took one of mine to go and play with him because he's got like the iPad. He wants to play Zumba. I know, but that's what he wants to do. And for the life of me, I could not get the PlayStation 4 Move to work on the PlayStation 3. I used multiple different wires. They all went in, they all connected to they were all charging it, but nothing would let me sync it with his his console. So I've had to go and buy him a PlayStation 3 one, so you'd know, with like the weird, I don't know what, like the old PlayStation 3 USB gubbins. Yeah, that
micro
one.
Over it, so the mini one. I think it was a mini, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've had to buy one of them. Which, if anyone is looking for moves, go and look on CX. They have them on there a lot cheaper than like eBay or Amazon. Like, I was so, because I was like, where am I going to get one? I don't want to pay like £60, how much they are at the moment. I just need one. Went on there like 21 quid. I was like, snap that up. Yes, it's old. Yes, it's a bit discoloured, but they have like a 24-month guarantee, so everything else I've ever bought from there always works. I've got one, I've got the wire, so hopefully when I go to his tomorrow and plug it in, hopefully it will connect. But yeah, because I always thought the moves were interchangeable. I know you can go from PS3 to PS4 and they work, but if you go from the PS4 down to the PS3, they don't work. Just keeping that keep that in mind, kids, because I had the PS3 ones, then we bought the Iron Man game, so we got 2 more PS4 ones. But yeah, so you can't downgrade, but you can, you know what I mean. The PS3 goes to PS4, PS4 does not go down. So yeah, I did find that out. So I've got one of them, so we can go and play Zumba, and I bet he has been asking, bless him. So I'm glad to have gone through that. But yeah, that was a stressful half an hour, because I went in and he saw it, and it's like, yeah, let's play, and then he couldn't, and then he was not happy. If there is noise, I do apologise. No, it's alright, it's gone off. But yeah, but not Dead Space, Dead Island 2 comes out next week, so that should be fun. It's more, I'm guessing it's more of the same, just ridiculous weapons and smashing them over the head. It's like the other one. What was the other one called that came out recently? Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah, no, not recently, like a year ago. Dead something.
Dying Light,
yeah.
2.
It's like Dying Light, but it's more like funny. Well, I find them more funny. They've got more like ragdoll physics. You've seen the trailers. The trailer's been the same for like 10 years. Like, I can remember seeing that trailer. I was like, oh, that looks fun. And I remember going around looking for it, and I was like, oh, you can pre-order it at Argos. Like, you would have a pre-order at Argos for like over 10 years. I just find that funny. I wonder if they honour any of the Dead Island pre-orders from back in the day, because that would have been fun. But yeah, that comes out next week. The week after that, the new Star Wars Lone Survivor Shenanigans is out. That's fun. I believe there is a State of Play today, so I'll be watching that.
Today?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm not sure what time it was.
Is it?
I'm sure there is today, yeah.
I know there was one
State
2 days ago, was it?
of Play. Let's have a look.
It was a Final Fantasy one, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Was that what it was?
That
I knew there was...
a couple of days ago, I think.
Oh, okay.
Final Fantasy
and
something else.
Oh yeah, 2 days ago.
It was...
State of Play presents special look at Final Fantasy 16.
16, yeah.
And that looks good. You can feed the dogs in it, so I'm all for that. If you can feed an animal, game of the year. But yeah, just colouring for me. Because
what are you colouring?
What are they called?
Colouring books.
You know, like
It's not the walls.
the ones that are like mandalas. Is that what they're called? And I also have
Nelson
one.
Mandela colouring books.
Yeah, I also have one that
It's got
is
dozens of them.
best of the 90s colouring book, and it has like Britney in it, and it has Titanic in it, and Game Boys, and it has a lot of like Americanness in it, because there's some things in there I'm like, don't know who you are, couldn't place you. Like the Scream, MC Hammer, Furbies, Friends, Britney, and then there's like this guy who's looking at some kind of bugs, no idea, and then a guy, yeah, I don't know, like it is very American. Like there's a guy who's doing workout with like very, like, I don't know, very curly hair. Not sure who he is.
Oh, I can't remember his name now. I know what you mean.
Yeah, and then...
He likes some sort of leotard.
Yeah, and then this other guy, I know he's out something, he has like a catchphrase, he has glasses, he wears like braces, is it braces or suspenders? But I don't know who they are, but there's like NSYNC in it, so... But yeah, just colouring at the moment, because I can't bother. Do you know what I do have, though? I do have, you know, when we were talking about like... not MCMs, EGX and stuff. I still have my shield for Assassin's Creed, not the last one, but the one before. I still have my shield.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, they had them them cardboard shields. I still have mine, and that's gone through like a house move and everything. It's in perfect condition. I just saw it and I was like, that's weird that I still have that. But yeah, that's me.
Don't get them anymore.
Yeah, you remember the good old days when you get. Then again, no,
I've got
no,
that.
Then again,
I've got that foam chainsaw from
You got
Chainsaw.
your bag, didn't you, Pab?
we got a bag of freebies last year. Kev.
That is true.
Oh,
Highlight of
House
last year,
Flipper.
House Flipper 2.
oh yeah.
That was great.
Your house.
We got
flipper.
2 bags worth. We got
My
2
tape
bags.
measure.
Yeah.
There you go. They're stepping up my game with House Flipper. I should go and play that. Really, that's a fun chill game.
That is a chill game.
But there is a game that I saw that I told Sheepdog that he might go and like. He might like. He likes.
Yeah,
Hollow
I was
Knight.
planning on buying it after I'd finished the game jam I'm working on. That's my game jam reward game.
Ah, I forgot
What's it
what
called
it's
again?
called. I don't know. I said till something death.
Thanks for dying or something.
Yeah. So that looked fun for
Yeah,
Sheepdog.
I know
It's
what you
like
mean now.
Hollow
a nice death.
Knight and what's it
Have a
called?
nice death.
Yeah, have a
Yeah,
nice. It's not
that's
thanks for
it.
dying.
Does look like
Yeah.
it does as Hollow Knight looking. Yeah.
Yeah. So that looked cool, but that's me. So on to other people.
Is that me?
Upload.
I,
Yeah, it's
I
you.
think so.
That's me. What have I been playing?
Video games.
I've been playing Celeste. Remember Celeste?
I do remember Celeste.
Yeah. I've been playing it on the Playdate.
Why?
Because they put it out on the Playdate and I went, alright then. I gave it a go and it actually works. It's fine. They had to tweak it a little bit, obviously. But it is a very good little Playdate game. For a thing that I don't really play very often, I did play it for best part of an hour the other night, just playing Celeste. I could have played it on. I think I've got it on Switch. But yeah, I've been playing some. It's remarkable, the Playdate these days. It's constantly surprising me, even though I don't really use it very much. But I always open the little case on it and I go, oh, there's an update for it. There's a store now on the Playdate, so you can buy games on it. I know
Wasn't
the
this
What
the
is
one
the
that had the
Playdate?
subscription
Like-
of games that was supposed
Yes,
you were
it
supposed to
came-
get like 2 games a week or something?
It came in the first season. You get the first season when you buy the thing, and it comes with however many games, and you unlock a game a week or 2 games a week for however many weeks. I think you end up with like 12 to 18 games or something. I can't remember exactly. And every week 2 more games will unlock. But there's also a store on there now, and I think they're looking to put another season out at some point. I imagine you probably have to pay for the second season because they're all well, not all big name people who've made it, but I know there's some quite known people made games for it and put them in that first season. But like I say, I've just not really. I just open the games, have a quick go, and go, oh yeah, that's nifty. That's a cool little game, and then don't really think about it. It is very much like people said. It's like a cool little desk toy that you just kind of fiddle with for a little bit, and then put it down, and then get on with what you're doing. So yeah, I
What
haven't
is
really,
it?
It's like a little handheld, and it's got like a little crank on the side that's like
It's
it's
like a
crank.
wind-up radio.
Yeah, it's got a little vine, but it's an input mechanism for games. So people have made games around using this little crank to do things.
I need to
There's-
have a look what these are. It sounds
Oh yeah,
bizarre.
yeah. They're really cool. They're really nifty. They look like it's like a little tiny Game Boy.
Oh.
It's only a black and white screen, but they're very cool little things. Expensive. It's an expensive desk toy.
Okay.
I reckon you're probably paying at least £200 for them.
Oh my lord. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
This is actually one of the few things in history I was able to talk myself out of getting, even though I was going to get one.
Why?
I think I pre-ordered it, and it took the money immediately, and it went, see you in 18 months. I went,
Oh god.
Okay.
Okay.
Sucker.
Okay.
You were like, that sounds fair and
that's
reasonable.
it. Yeah, it's
I
a
won't
nice
panic.
surprise for me in 18 months when it just randomly turns on my door and I've forgotten about it. So, yeah,
That's weird.
it's
Okay.
all right though.
Cool.
It's cool. It's cool. The main thing I have played though is a game that came to PS Plus this month.
Okay.
Meet Your Maker. It's from the people who made Dead by Daylight. It's nothing like Dead by Daylight. It's
Isn't
more
Dead by Daylight like one of them? One person is one thing and
1v5.
Yeah.
Isometrical horror.
Yeah.
Well, isometrical. I might be. I don't know. Where you have one guy as the monster, one monster, and five people who've got to escape.
Can you remember Evolve? Is that what it was called?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But on a much simpler scale, I would say.
Okay.
Evolve was a bit too complex, I think. It was like massive maps.
It was, yeah.
And you had to hunt down the monster before the monster could
eat enough.
No, well, it wouldn't eat you initially. It had to, before, realistically, it couldn't do anything. It just had to hunt other like wildlife until it got big enough to evolve into the final form, and then it becomes invincible. So you just have to chase. You have to just chase it around this massive map. Whereas,
I remember it because I bought it for Kev, but I don't think
I loved it. I really liked
It wasn't
Evolve,
very good. It was
nobody.
rubbish.
I liked it, but nobody played it. That's the thing. And
Yeah, I remember it being abandoned. We got a review, didn't we, as well? And I think I remember it being abandoned like within a week.
I have an Evolved baseball cap.
Yeah, I feel like we got them for I think it didn't we? We got them for MGPX. I feel like at some point.
And I yoinked one by the sound
Yeah,
of it.
imagine.
I've still got
Yeah,
one.
I think they dumped all of their stock on us, didn't they? After it didn't go very far. That's basically how I remember it.
But yeah, Dead by Daylight is like that, but on a much smaller scale. I don't think the maps are anywhere near as big, but it's a massive game. It's a huge game, it's hugely
they
popular.
got like
They got all
Freddy
the
Krueger in it,
licenses.
didn't they? And
Yes,
stuff,
they got
yeah.
the Scream fella in, Scream Face Man,
Oh, okay.
Freddy Krueger.
I
They got.
just watched all of those again recently.
I think they've got
Scream films.
I think they've got the Hellraiser guy in there, and all these other different people in there, all these different licensed monsters and whatever, you know. But anyway, that's nothing like that. Forget, just wipe your memory out of that bit. It's Meet Your Maker is first-person Mario Maker to a certain degree. You are in a apocalyptic hellscape world where you are trying to get genetic material. And to get genetic material, you have to raid
it's
bases.
like a night out in Basildon.
You have to get this genetic material from raiding bases, and bases are made by people. The public make these bases, so it's a base building game where you build a base and you have to go in and raid it, collect the genetic material, and then get out again, and then you level up by doing so. But like I say, it's. Do you remember the game? What's it called? Do you remember the game Quest for Epic Loot, which came out years ago?
Yes, I remember.
I don't know
this.
if you will have done, maybe.
I
but
do.
It was a game by Ubisoft, I think, and it was a game where you had to build a dungeon, and then people would come and raid your dungeon to get the treasure out, and then it failed massively.
It looked really cool though.
It was very cool when at the time. It was very cool. I think it went free to play. I think it might have even been free to play, which is what sometimes I feel like damages the game, because then there's loads of free to play hooks in it, and it's just if it doesn't get the hooks into people, then it's just a dying game. But this one I'm thoroughly enjoying because it's very. I don't know. I can't stop thinking about what I want to do to my own level, and I can't stop going through levels thinking, seeing things, and go, oh, that's a good idea. I want to do that. And you just go around and like look through bases, and you rate them afterwards, and then if you put, I've only made one level so far, and depending on how much stuff you've got, it depends on how hard the level is graded as. I think mine's brutal because I put nearly the entire allowance of things in it.
Who grades them though?
I think it's graded on just the amount of items you have in the level.
Okay.
So if you have tons of traps in there, so that your base is like, it's like blocks. You put blocks down, and then you can place traps on them. So there's spike traps or bolt traps, or bombs, or just actual enemies like monsters in there. You put monsters in them. Or I've got, like, it's an area that I've got an invisible block in. So if someone triggers an invisible block and there's a guy stood behind it, he'll shoot you. But then there's also, once you get to the gen mat like thing that you've got to collect, you can then set up traps that trigger on the way back instead of on the way in. So you then got to get out of it.
Sneaky.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's so sneaky, but it's. I feel like it's just very compelling. It's like, okay, I need to get further into this. I'm playing the levels. See, here's where playing the levels are. You have a grappling hook, and it's a very good grappling hook, so you can get around pretty quick. You have a sword, and that's on your... I'm playing on a PC, so it's on my right click. I don't know what it is on the consoles, but it's on your right click. Your left click is your gun that you have. You have like bolts. It's like a bolt gun, but you only have a certain number of... You only start with two bolts, so you have to go and collect them after you've fired them.
Oh, God.
So it's a case of like risk reward in certain things. It's like, okay, I'm going to shoot this guy over here, but I know there's another guy at the opposite end, and I've got to like zip over to this guy and then have the ability to spin around and shoot this other fella. There's also like bullet drop on it, so you've got to kind of arc the bullets sometimes if you're going so far.
So it's not just one thing. You've got like all these other elements going on in the background.
You've also, like, say, if you have a room full of enemies, you've got to deal with the enemies, but you've also got to realise, which is what I did. I just filled a room with enemies, but I just peppered in a few traps as well, because then they've got to think of multiple things. They've got to deal with enemies and stuff flying at them, or just trying to spike them if you just run on the floor.
And what do you get from people raiding you? Then do you get anything?
So you get materials and goods from people raiding and dying. Your level gets at the end of the level. You can give like modify it like normally it's like fun, devious. Mm-hmm. Is it fun? No, fun, ingenious, brutal, and something else. And you can pick two of those things, and it gets obviously it probably surfaces higher up if more people rate it as a certain thing. But then every time you go to a level, it's so many things with it that every time you go to a level, it's associated with a certain material that you are coming out with. I know it's gen mat, but there's four different types of gen mat, and there are 4 different people in your hub like base that you go back to every time. Before you go to like the table map where all the levels are, there are 4 people, and each one's got traps, one's got weapons, one's got enemies, and one's got armor and suits. So every time you level, I'll be honest with you, I don't quite know the full ins and outs because there are that many meters and stuff on the screen. I think there's 4 or 5 different materials that you could take out of the each raid that you do. And it normally tells you which one it is that you're going to be collecting from the base that you're going to raid. And then that's associated with a person that's in your base who has these different things. And then after a certain point, you then go and speak to the Chimera lady, who's like this big monster who's trying to save the world from this apocalyptic thing. And you upgrade her stuff. And then there's a bar across the top that you're trying to fill up. Then there's a player level that you're trying to fill up. And there's also these people's levels. And then there's the world level. I'm like, there's like 5 different meters I'm filling up, and I don't know what any of them are doing. But I like running around these little handmade worlds that people are these little bases that people are making, and I got the itch to just. I was just thinking today. I was thinking, I wonder if anyone's been on my level. I've not checked today, and then you can obviously there's a replay system, so you can watch them go through your level and see where people are dying. and see what people are doing. Someone did my level in under a minute,
Wow.
and I was like, huh? I don't understand what they did. But all they were doing was just grappling hooking, just escaping the chapter, just running and just speed running my level. I was like, oh, you're one of them players here. Whereas I go into a level and spend 15 minutes in a level just crawling around, just swiping at walls, looking for traps and invisible walls and stuff. So yeah, that's what I've been playing mainly this week. It's on PS Plus, like I say, this month. Mm-hmm. And it's all crossplay as well. It's all crossplay. So I've been playing. I've been playing maps that have been made on the PlayStation. I've been playing other people from PlayStation have been playing my levels, and there's co-op in the game. You can do it co-op. I saw someone do co-op the other day, and I was like, huh, I didn't know it was co-op, but people can do levels co-op. I think that'll make it a lot easier.
Oh,
You got
that's cool.
two sets of eyes watching around corners and seeing what's going on. But I think that from what I saw in the replay that I watched, I feel like there is friendly damage on there. So I think I saw one of the people doing my level kill their teammate. So that is something you probably would have to watch out for. But I like playing this game. I like just seeing what other people are doing. I don't know what the levels are doing. I'm doing something to make the bars go up and the numbers go up. I don't know what it's
So you
doing.
don't know. They're going up,
I'm
but you
getting
don't know
currency
why.
as well. I'm also getting currency in that point as well, and currency allows me to buy things from these people that are in my hub, sort of thing. And I assume every time I level them up, I'll get more things from them to be able to buy. I don't know. Like you can buy more bolts for your gun and faster
Reload.
swipes and better suits.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, like I say, and it only survives this game realistically on its community. So
it needs to be.
it needs people to play it. That's probably a good reason for it to be on PlayStation Plus at the minute, because it just instantly gives an audience.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It gives them an audience, and if people are interested in it and people make maps, it populates the world, so it keeps it cycling through. And like I say,
So
plays
is
well
it
on mouse and
only
keyboard.
it does only run on people's contribution, or can you is there like pre-made?
That's the thing. I don't know. I
okay.
genuinely don't know. I imagine there probably are some basic levels in there initially, but I think it's random. I think I'm random. I'm not. Yeah, I think like I say, it's based on what levels I'm getting picked upon is random, and levels are based on are graded based on how many items are in the map. So you can then decide whether you want to do a brutal level or a relatively simple level.
Does brutal
on just
mean more rewards then?
Potentially, yes. I think so.
Okay.
I don't know. No, that's the thing. I genuinely don't know, because I just go in, I just pick a level and go, yep, and I need this material. Let's get in. I don't know, but it's only brutal based on the number of items in there. So a level could be insanely hard, but only have a small amount of items in there. It's just well packed into a small base sort of thing.
Okay.
But it's fun. It's
have a
fun,
look.
and like I say, PlayStation Plus is it on PC. If you want to play it there, I enjoyed playing it on mouse and keyboard. So, but it's a first-person shooter. So, and that's it. Apart from like say Fortnite stuff, Attack on Titan people are in Fortnite now. That's your thing. I don't know much about Attack on Titan, but there's like
I
these
believe
catapult
there is a
things.
sword in it. Is there a big sword?
They got like these like weird catapult things and swords, yeah, and little capes on them. Loads of people with capes running around now.
There's a new
Little jackets and capes, yeah.
towers, like town, got rails. I've been watching.
Oh
some
yeah,
Fortnite.
that's the new season. Yeah, the new season has like Neo Tokyo
That's it.
kind of like rails and stuff to grind on and stuff like that. But it's not my thing, that area, because it's always busy.
I love rails like that.
Oh, I like it, but it's too busy and you die very quickly.
That's
So I just
true,
stay to the edge of the map where there's not a lot going on. Rather than that is your lot from me this week.
Well, in that case, boys and girls, if you do want to pester us on the internet, you can do that at Mgukpodcast, or you can follow me at Lelujo.
And I'm at RB6K.
I miss Lelujo.
And Outpab 1986.
And we will see you next week, boys and girls.
Have a good week.
Toodle bit.
Thanks for listening, folks.